I'm kind of back, sort of. I'm not 100%. This is this is fun. This is good. This is why I wanted to come back early for this part of the show. This is Congressman Steve Cohen. I can't wait to show you this. Congressman Steve Cohen represents Tennessee's 9th Congressional District. He's a Democrat who sits on the House Judiciary Committee. Now, he's a lawyer, and that's why he sits on the House Judiciary Committee. Makes sense, right? Steve Cohen, Congressman Steve Cohen, Democrat, got his law degree from the University of Memphis. I can't wait to tell you this. I probably should have taken tonight off and come back Monday, but this couldn't wait. So Democrat Steve Cohen got his law degree from the University of Memphis. And then after passing the bar, he began practicing criminal law in Tennessee, and he eventually became a judge, and then he ran for Congress. I know this feels kind of unnecessary to bring up, that a Democrat who sits on the House Judiciary Committee passed the bar, worked as a lawyer, served as a judge. You would think, of course, that's normal. That's why he sits on the House Judiciary Committee. It's reasonable to expect someone who sits on the House Judiciary Committee to be a lawyer, right? Well, apparently not. So I'm going to play Congressman Cohen during last week's House Judiciary Committee hearings when FBI Director Christopher Wray was testifying. Now, like I said, Steve Cohen, Democrat, House Judiciary Committee, passes the bar, becomes a judge. But apparently, Republicans don't think lawyers should be serving on the House Judiciary Committee. So Christopher Wray testified, was tortured by the Republicans last week when he testified before the House Judiciary Committee. He's the director of the FBI. He was appointed by Donald Trump in 2017. He's not my favorite person, right? He's an attorney right there. It's a personal betrayal that he's an attorney. He graduated from Yale Law School, which should be criminal. And he's a member of the Federalist Society, which has handpicked all 3 of Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominees. Not a good guy, Christopher Wray. He's a Republican. And he's worth, according to Newsweek, as much as $40 million. Much of that fortune comes from working as a corporate lawyer defending Russian gas companies. All that being said, not my favorite guy, but he has testified that Antifa doesn't exist. The head of the FBI, Christopher Wray, has testified that Antifa doesn't exist. Somewhat refreshing. He testified as FBI director that Antifa is an ideology, not some centralized organization, despite what Fox News and every Republican on the Judiciary Committee wants you to believe. Christopher Wray, not my favorite person, head of the FBI, has also testified recently that the biggest threat of domestic terrorism comes not from Black Lives Matter, but from white supremacists. And that's precisely why Republicans despise FBI Director Christopher Wray, despite all his prickish bona fides. He's got all the bona fides to be a Republican prick, except for one thing. He tells the truth. He's not willing to create imaginary enemies. Antifa doesn't exist, and Black Lives Matter doesn't riot. He knows that, and he says it. So, apparently, during the hearings last week before the House Judiciary Committee, someone on the House Judiciary Committee, a Republican, questioned FBI Director Christopher Wray's standing as a lawyer. Apparently, I didn't see exactly what happened. Some Republican who sits on the Judiciary Committee intimated that perhaps the FBI director was delinquent in paying his dues to some bar association, something like that. And that pissed off Tennessee Congressman Stephen Cohen, and he went on the offense. And this is what he said.
And yet they had the chutzpah, the audacity, the lack of integrity to question Ray's judgment, and went on and on. And I was sorry, I came in here today and
Is the gentleman accusing us of a lack of integrity?
Mr. Chairman, if you would ask whoever it is to shut up.
That would be Stephen Cohen telling Congressman Darrell Issa, Republican, to shut up. Republican Darrell Issa is upset because Stephen Cohen accused the Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee of lacking integrity. Okay? This is Congressman Darrell Issa. He's a Republican member of the House Judiciary Committee, and he interrupted Congressman Steve Cohen, Democrat, because he's concerned about people besmirching his integrity as well as the integrity of other Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee. So Congressman Stephen Cohen, Democrat, apparently thinks some members of the House Judiciary Committee lack not just integrity, but an understanding of the law. Now, Congressman Cohen, Democrat, he passed the bar, worked as a criminal attorney, became a judge. Apparently, he finds it outrageous that anyone in the Republican Party on the House Judiciary Committee would question FBI Director Christopher Wray's legal qualifications. Here's more of Congressman Steve Cohen.
And I heard some questions about your relationship with the Bar Association. You don't ask about membership in the Bar Association on a Judiciary Committee where there are members who never passed the bar and aren't members of the bar. And they are members of this committee in good standing. So we need to get beyond the hypocrisy and realize where we are and don't raise such subjects.
So I didn't know this. And that's Darrell Issa turning his head and looking around, feeling his integrity has been besmirched. Now, Steve Cohen didn't mention names. He didn't say which Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee never passed the bar. So I did a little research. Congressman Darrell Issa, Republican member of the House Judiciary Committee, not a lawyer, never went to law school, but he's a Republican, so he gets to sit on the House Judiciary Committee. I don't know, maybe my listeners are much smarter than I am. Maybe you already knew this. I did not. I would assume that Darrell Issa, sitting on the House Judiciary Committee, would be a lawyer. Now, in all fairness, Darrell Issa is no stranger to the criminal justice system. We've talked about this for years on this show, Darrell Issa's criminal past. Back in 2019, when Darrell Issa, Republican, he took a break from Congress, and Donald Trump nominated him to serve as head of the U.S. Trade and Development Agency. But that nomination hit a snag when the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, which had to approve him, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee accused Darrell Issa of withholding embarrassing information to the FBI when they were conducting their background checks on him. Now, we've covered Darrell Issa's criminal record for years. Issa has been arrested several times for auto theft, arson, threatening someone with a gun. He's been convicted of possession of an unregistered gun. It goes on, but he's also one of the wealthiest members of Congress. So put him on the Judiciary Committee. It's not like he hasn't had any experience with the Justice Department. Excuse me. Okay, it gets better. Here's where it gets really good. I'm going to assume, is there anything Congressman Cohen would like to say to Darrell Issa?
Shut up.
Yes, thank you. I like Steve Cohen. I'm going to assume my listeners already knew this, but I didn't. Jim Jordan, he's the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. And while he went to law school, he's never practiced law. He can't practice law because he's never passed the bar exam. Jim Jordan, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, never passed the bar. I don't know. Maybe you already knew this. I did not. Seems to me, I don't think it's asking too much that the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Donald Trump's attack dog, right? Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to me he should have passed the bar. Congressman Cohen, anything you'd like to say to Congressman Jim Jordan?
Shut up.
Yeah. Congressman Troy Nehls is a congressman from Texas. Sits on the House Judiciary Committee. Not a lawyer. But he got elected to Congress in 2020, running on his 20-year history as a sheriff and law enforcement officer. He had been elected as Fort Bend County Sheriff in 2012. He got reelected in 2016. But what came to light when he was running for Congress back in 2020 is that he got fired in 1998 by the Richmond Police Department. They sacked him for committing 19 violations in just 1 year. They accused him of making false arrests and destroying evidence. It was all in 1 year. And then when he got elected sheriff, 2 prisoners in fewer than 2 months died on his watch, and he was sanctioned by the Texas Commission on Jail Standards. Not a lawyer. Probably, if he weren't a congressman, would be in need of one for his record as a police officer. Congressman Cohen, is there anything you'd like to say to Congressman Nehls?
Shut up.
Yeah. This is Jeff Van Drew. He represents New Jersey's 2nd Congressional District. He sits on the House Judiciary Committee. He used to be a Democrat. He switched to the GOP in 2019, and he got a plum committee assignment, got to sit on the House Judiciary Committee. He's a dentist, not a lawyer. He's a dentist. I'm guessing he's the only Republican on the committee who's ever performed a legal cavity search. Anything you would like to say, Steve Cohen, to Congressman Jeff Van Drew?
Shut up.
Yeah, really, they should just shut the F up. This is Scott Fitzgerald, Republican from Wisconsin, also sits on the House Judiciary Committee, not a lawyer.
Shut up.
Yeah, shut up. And another Republican congressman from Wisconsin, Tom Tiffany. He sits on the House Judiciary Committee, not a lawyer. But Tom Tiffany voted against making Juneteenth a national holiday, so he's got that going for him in the Republican Party.
Shut up.
Well, there you have a House Judiciary Committee run by Republicans who either never went to law school or never passed the bar. And who better to advocate for Donald Trump's innocence than a bunch of right-wing idiots who haven't any clue what our nation's laws are. I'm David Feldman, reminding you to stay strong and protect the weak. I want to thank the mods. If you're watching us live on YouTube, I want to thank the moderators for keeping the conversation going. And I'm kind of back. I'm not 100%, but I'm coming back. And thank you for listening. And hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you.